Welcome back to Double Fries No Slaw, where we are chatting for probably the last time about this Alabama game. I'm TJ Pittenger, and today we're talking about something that's kind of exterior to the game, but a really big deal for Florida State. The viewership numbers. Now, I know that's not a super sexy topic to talk about, but the logo, the viewership numbers, coming off of a 2-10 season, I think this is important, but 10.7 million viewers. We have a graphic from FSU football that we'll throw up with a peak of 12.9 million viewers for the week 1 showdown for the Noles. That's not just a stat. That is an absolute statement. If I would have told you before the game that a game where Florida State was a 2-touchdown dog at home, that they would set records with those numbers, you may not have believed what I had to tell you. But let's talk about this and why it is a big deal for the Noles when it comes to money, when it comes to the ACC, and everything else that we've been telling you for months. First off, we'll talk about the actual logo. Even after a 2-10 season, the brand is still the brand. Arguably the worst program in history for Florida State. And I know there's been worse records, but when you consider expectations and you consider the performance, likely the worst season in history, the Garnet and Gold logo still pulled a lot of weight. Again, we've got the graphic pulled up right now. You can see it. 10.7 million average viewership, 12.9 million at peak. That's the highest mid-afternoon week 1 audience of all time. It literally broke a record. Why? Because of FSU's brand. It's way bigger than one bad year. It's a legacy of national titles, iconic games, and a fan base that doesn't quit. You saw that if you were there at the stadium or if you were watching on TV. The place was rocking. They were talking about how hyped it was. The former players that were there were telling you that it was just like when they played in some iconic matchups. But whether it was the fan base or not, people tuned in to see if FSU could bounce back. And my, oh my, what a show they got. Noles beat Alabama in week 1 with Tommy Castellanos slinging the ball and running wild, even better than he ran his mouth in the offseason. The logo is not just a logo, it's a magnet. And it proves that it is still gold, even when the preceding record wasn't. Now, Castellanos goes for 152 yards. He rushed for 78. He won the Davey O'Brien National Quarterback of the Week. That's the kind of performance that turns head. And the logo at Florida State amplifies it. Castellanos had better performances statistically at Boston College. Shoot, he did it to us 2 years in a row. But when you do it at Florida State, it's different. Fans and casuals and haters alike all tuned in to see if FSU meant business when they stepped on the field. And fortunately for us watching this, they did. Now let's get into the money side, because this is not just about pride, it's about profit. Before we do that, speaking of money, hopefully you have downloaded the Sleeper app for this weekend's games. Listen, you can do a ton of stuff on the Sleeper app, whether you're looking to make some picks, the more or less game that Richie and I have been playing, whether you're looking to track scores, whether you want to be involved in the community side of things where you can literally chat with people on the biggest plays of the biggest games in every sport. I'm literally recording this at halftime of the NFL game where I pick some more or lesses and I'm tracking those and watching other people freak out about their picks. It is such a cool app. I believe some of our folks here have their fantasy football leagues inside of Sleeper. Go check out the app. Use our code DFNS for a 100% deposit match up to $100. Check out their terms and conditions. Obviously, always good to read that before you get into anything that you're doing. But I appreciate Sleeper for their support. Go check them out. Now, the ACC has flipped the script with their new media revenue distribution model. It's no more equal shares. It's about wins and it's about viewership. According to all reports, 40% of the revenue pot is split evenly. But the rest of it, it's tied on how many eyes are on your games. And for a 3:30 kickoff where you're a 2-touchdown underdog, everybody's saying you're going to get blown out, and you come away with 10.7 million viewers in week 1, Florida State's going to cash in big time. Not just on this game, right? We're talking about this game, but it will be for the season. This is a game changer. for a program that's coming off of a rough year. More wins, more viewers, more money, simple math, but huge implications. Imagine the gulf that this is going to create. We talked about this in the offseason when the settlement happened, when the settlement was rumored back in February. Imagine the gulf that we're going to create for the rest of the time that we're in the ACC with teams like Miami and Clemson and others that will get massive ratings. Think about the big games that are still left. Miami, Clemson, Florida. Listen, don't undersell the Pitt game. Don't undersell the Virginia Tech game. Don't undersell the NC State game. Don't undersell the fact that when Florida State goes across the country and plays Stanford at 10:30, the nation is going to tune in to see that game. There's no other big games happening at the same time. Is it going to get 13 million viewers? No, it's not. But it will get better than most ACC games that week, even with a 10:30 Eastern start. I promise you. But every view counts. We had A.D. Alford on, and he said, listen, if you're going to the game, put your TVs on, 4 or 5 different TVs in your house, put them all on the game, and then go. A strong showing against these teams that we're talking about could lock in even more revenue. And the Post mentions its 7th highest 330 window in the college football era. That's not just a fluke. That's Nole Nation showing up and the ACC's new system rewarding them for it. This could be a massive, and it will be a massive financial lifeline that FSU needs to close the gap until they're in the Big Ten or the SEC. And with the fan base this passionate, those numbers are only going to climb. As the season heats up, this is not just a football story. It is truly a business strategy. Speaking of heating up, like I said, look at the schedule. Florida State's schedule is not easy. I think it's very manageable, but it's not easy. Miami, Clemson, Florida. You know about the big three there. Pitt, Virginia Tech, NC State, and Virginia, both on standalone time spots where nobody else is playing on a Friday night. They're not just games. They're viewership bonanzas waiting to happen. Miami's always going to be a massive rivalry. If they beat Florida in a couple of weeks, that game will be 8 p.m. I guarantee it. Clemson's a powerhouse. If Florida State goes into that game with just a loss and Clemson can maintain their record with just one loss, that game has a chance to be an 8 p.m. kickoff as well. And the Florida game, their schedule's tough too. But if they can have any kind of success, that will be one that everyone watches on the last Saturday of November. All of these matchups have the potential to push those viewership numbers even higher, especially if the playmakers and the guys who made highlights on Saturday continue to do so. And it all starts and ends, let's be honest, with Tommy Castellanos. If he can continue talking smack and backing it up, more and more people want to tune in and see it. The ACC knows it, ESPN knows it, and the fans know it. Florida State's back in the conversation, which is good for you guys, but it's also good for college football. And probably most importantly, it's good for Florida State's wallet. Every win here could add millions to those viewership stats. And with the revenue model in play, Coach Mike Norvell's got every incentive to keep this train rolling. These games are where underdogs become legends. We saw that on Saturday, or where legends get exposed, like we saw on Alabama's side. Either way, though, the eyes are glued to the screen. Let's talk about the man making the season appointment viewing, Tommy Castellanos. He transfers from Boston College, where he had over 3,600 passing yards, 1,300 rushing yards over 2 seasons, and he's already making waves at FSU. Against Alabama, he didn't just play. He performed. He earned the Manning Award Star of the Week honors. But it's not just the stats, it's the attitude. Did you see him post-play? Did you see him hyped up before and after the game? Did you see him on the sideline? A lot of fans were hesitant because of what he said in the offseason. But Castellanos is known to talk a little bit of trash. And that's absolutely a delight for viewers. People tune in to see if he can back it up. And through one game, he's delivering. But whether he delivers or not, and I know we want him to as fans, that's must-see TV. There's nothing people love seeing more than a guy who can't back it up. There's nothing fans love seeing more than a guy who does. With his dual threat style and his swagger, he's turning FSU into a potential for highlight reel. Whether he's dodging defenders, whether he's dropping a dime to Squirrel White or Jalen Lucas on the right side, Castellanos is the spark in the underdog story that Florida State is this season going forward. On that specifically, this is the point of the season. Everyone doubted Florida State. We at times doubted Florida State. And just because they beat Alabama doesn't mean that the underdog story that people want to tune in and see is over. Now, typically, Florida State's a powerhouse. We know that. But after last year's disaster, no one expected this. No one expected them to beat Alabama in week 1. That's a huge plot twist. People are going to continue to tune in, not just for the brand, but to see if the team can keep this momentum rolling. Can they climb out of the ashes with a revamped roster, Norvell's leadership, the portal strategy, and Tommy Castellanos' flair? This isn't your typical FSU season, let's be very honest. It's more of a redemption arc. And in 2025, everybody loves a good underdog tale. From the worst season in memory to a potential turnaround, this story has huge legs. And with those big games, high viewership, and the narrative around this, it will absolutely put Florida State back up at the top from a financial perspective. Or at least keep us all watching long enough to figure it out. So there you have it. FSU's logo still holds an immense amount of weight. The ACC's revenue model is an absolute game changer. Castellanos is making the underdog story unmissable. Big games ahead, over 10 million viewers in this first one already in the bag. The Noles are back in the national spotlight. What do you think they can do to keep this run going? Well, win a lot of games. Keep winning games. But what I will tell you is win or loss, people are going to tune in to check it out. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Let's talk about this a little bit. Listen, we're a day away from game 2. If I had a stamp, I'd stamp it right now. We're going to be 2-0 in just over 24 hours from now. We're going to match last year's season win total 8 days into the season. Probably not too bad when you think of it that way. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on your way out. We appreciate you guys, as always, for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Go Noles.